This segment brought to you by Zane Inn and Craft Farm. Make your memories come to life. Come stay with us. Like many kids, Christmas was one of my favorite times of the year. One of my favorite memories was Christmas Eve at my Grandma Taylor's house. 30 cousins, several aunts and uncles would all gather for the Christmas feast. Lamb roast, many side dishes, mashed potatoes, and maybe the most important of all, my Grandma Taylor's egg noodles. Today I'm going to show you how we continue that tradition here at Zane Inn and Craft Farm. We start with 2 cups of flour. To that we add about a half a teaspoon of salt. And that's all we have for the dry ingredients. Wet ingredients consist of 4 egg yolks and 1 whole egg and about a tablespoon of cold water. Some people will add food coloring to this mixture, but I never do. And my mother tells me that my Grandma Taylor would actually feed the chickens on the grass because chickens on grass would have yolks with a yellower color. We fold the moisture mixture in with the flour. Okay, as it starts to work down, we start to use our hands actually to get this all mashed together. Okay, as we get this where we need it to be, we have a round ball of dough, kind of yellow in color. It's a little bit stretchy at this point. Now here's where I differ from my mother and my grandma. They would roll this out into one big sheet. I find it easier to use an ulu knife and divide my dough mixture into 3 pieces. This makes for smaller pieces to roll out. Sprinkle a little bit of flour on the countertop. Move this out of the way so you can see. Kind of coat your dough in flour a little bit. And start using a rolling pin. The joke is to get this as thin so that you can see through it. I don't get it quite that thin, but you do need to remember as you roll your noodles out that when they rehydrate as you cook them, they will probably increase in size by 2 or 3 times. So if you have a noodle that's a 1/16 of an inch thick, once it cooks, it's now 3/16 of an inch thick. Okay, now we have a thin noodle dough. You can lay this out on a towel and let it dry for 2 or 3 hours and start cutting the noodles. But what I prefer to do to help speed up the process is to place it on a towel on a cookie sheet. And we're going to take this to the oven and we're going to heat it at about 170 degrees until the dough gets dry enough to cut into noodles. Well, I think our noodles are about done. We'll take them over now and see if we can't cut them. It's kind of a delicate balance as you do these noodles. Basically, you don't want them too wet because they'll gum together as you cut them, but if they're too dry, they'll crack. So what I've been always told is that you should have about the consistency of shoe leather. Now here again is where I depart from the way that my grandmother did things. She would roll them up into a roll and cut them with a knife. I use a pizza cutter. First we make long cuts to cut our noodles into length. Then I simply stack them. I then take the pizza cutter and start cutting off noodles. Okay, we're done cutting the noodles now. I use the pizza cutter to basically scoop them up, take a freezer bag, and slide them in. You seal the bag, burp the air out, and they're ready for the freezer. You can rehydrate these in boiling chicken stock or water. When it's time to use them, you can put them in frozen. But it's simple. I'll make several batches up ahead of time, and this is how we make and use Grandma Taylor's noodles. This segment brought to you by Zane Inn and Craft Farm. Make your memories come to life. Come stay with us.